everyone. My name is Yaniv and I'm from Bar-Ilan University. Does it say anything to you? How many of you here participated in a difficult conversation with student or student parents, principal, colleague, inspector? You can raise your hand.
All of us.
Well, so we're in a good space here. Well, I want to share a true story that happened to me a few years ago. One of my colleagues, an English elementary teacher, and I were meeting with my 4th grade student parent. The mother accused my colleague of dismissing and ignoring her daughter during English classes. As the meeting went on, the mother became very angry and accused my colleague of not only ignoring her daughter, but also the mother herself for not responding to her emails. At one point, she even yelled at my colleague, I will never forget that, telling her that you should feel ashamed of yourself. I will never forget that. During that time, my colleague was 8 months pregnant. So you can understand that it didn't make things much easier. As I heard the mother yelling, I instinctively reached for her belly to protect her child. And as it turned out, the mother's frustration was originated from a typo in her email address. And when she shared with us her frustration, we told her immediately that we are frustrated also. And that was the turning point of the conversation, because then she understood that we are all on the same side. So later, the conversation ended the way it ended, and later, afterwards, my colleague wrote me an email, and I quote, I want to thank you for supporting me throughout the conversation. Thanks to you, I stood tall and didn't give in to her insults. What I did is immediately writing her back and quoting a prayer that I recited inside my head during this specific conversation, a prayer from Psalms. And then she immediately wrote me back, and I quote, wow, it fits the situation we were in yesterday. That's how I felt. So we can understand that these conflictual moments can drain us emotionally. So how can we manage these conversations differently? Well, developing our social and emotional competencies is the key to reaching this goal, because when we do so, we can regulate our emotions, we can show empathy, we can foster positive relationships, and we can make ethical decisions as well. In my recent PhD study, I identified which social and emotional competencies emerge from these conflictual discussions, and then focused on 3: self-management, social awareness, and relationship management. 20 in-service teachers from different Israeli schools pursuing an MA degree in educational leadership took part in simulation-based learning sessions that were based on actual experiences they faced at school. After each session, each participant, also the observers of the simulation, filled out a social and emotional competencies questionnaire that was statistically evaluated and constructed for this study. It was based on this theoretical framework of Daniel Goleman and Boetzis from the emotional and social intelligence. And I want to share with you 2 findings in this short flash talk. We could see a high level of self-management factor. I think it also connects with what you said. Following the 2 others, as you can see here. And also, an interesting finding of significant correlation between self-management and social awareness from the participants' standpoint. So it creates a common sense of, I think, social emotional learning, because first we tend to regulate our emotions, and then we can address others. Then we can show empathy and be socially aware of others only when we take care of ourselves. We can help someone if I'm troubled with something, right? So in order to fully appreciate this interpersonal potential, we should help teachers to foster their social and emotional competencies. Our ability to connect with others is based on these competencies, and to fully appreciate that, we should help teachers be willing to carry with them all the baggage that people tend to carry into these conversations, specifically at different settings at school. So how can we put this into practice? I want to share 3 recommendations. First, we should identify what triggers you, and why some people or topics may make you feel angry, anxious, or defensive. We should know how to calm ourselves down and balance our emotions. Second, we should use self-management techniques, such as reading exercises, positive affirmations, and late research has shown that maintaining our emotional balance considered as one of the most effective leadership approaches. Third, we should use relationship management skills such as generous listening and empathy. Empathy is not just understanding someone else's emotions as I understand it, it's actually being willing to connect with the core of someone else's emotions and then to stay with him and maintain our emotional balance. I really love the quote of King Solomon here, saying that just as water reflects the face, so one's human heart reflects another. So to sum up, utilizing professional development strategies such as simulation-based, we should rephrase the term, simulation-based social emotional learning can help us navigate through complex scenarios, resulting in transformative breakthroughs and also educational growth. Now, in the following minutes that you have here and hours during this day and the rest of the week, please take time to reflect on the moments in your life that shaped your professional and personal development, specifically by those who were skilled in social and emotional competencies. How did their actions affected your thoughts and your emotions? What impact have they had on your relationships with yourself,